Hi everybody, it's Julia from Matheson Travel coming to you this week from Charlotte, North Carolina at a conference on a perfectly horrible night, but I'm on a balcony. And I wanted to talk to you this week about something that I've been having a lot of work to do around, and that is honeymoons. Christmas, New Year's, a lot of people get engaged, so this is a little bit honeymoon season. And I just wanted to talk to you about a couple different things that you should keep in mind when planning your honeymoon. Now, I will fully admit that I am not a honeymoon or destination wedding or romance travel expert, having never gotten married and never done my own honeymoon. But I do know a lot of travel agent friends that are romance travel experts. In fact, one of my friends that's here at this conference with me, Shannon LeBlanc, wrote a book that I want to let you know about and have you check out. It's called Say Yes to the Honeymoon, which is, I just love that. It's on Amazon, and so you can definitely purchase that and see her expert tips. But, I have planned a few, and I do know a few things, and so I want to give you a few tips myself as well. So the first thing when you're thinking about your honeymoon and where you want to go is you want to think about when you're going. Are you going the day after your wedding or right after your wedding like they did old school style? If you are, from everything I've heard, you are going to be exhausted after that big weekend party. Weddings are such big deals. They are just so stressful. And so you're really going to want, A, to go somewhere pretty close by, pretty easy to get to, and B, somewhere that you are just going to want to sit on the beach or relax and do a whole lot of nothing for a couple days. But more and more people are not choosing to do that. They're not choosing to go on their honeymoon like the day after they get married. They're choosing to go later on, a couple weeks later or sometime when they have a little bit more vacation or a little bit more time. And they're doing a lot of times things that are once in a lifetime or bucket list trips, which I've talked about a few weeks ago. So, if you think about that, where you have maybe 2 weeks of vacation time instead of just 1 week of vacation time, you can really do a lot more and go to a lot more sort of those exotic, memorable, once in a lifetime destinations like Tahiti or maybe the Maldives or, maybe Thailand, something like that. Another thing you want to think about is how private you want your honeymoon to be. Back in the day, it was very much a sort of a time for a couple to get to know each other, their first time alone, and super, super romantic. And I'm not saying that that's not the case now. And there are definitely people that I completely understand that they just want to be them and their spouse for, a week totally alone, completely private. They don't even want to see anybody. But I've also heard from a lot of people that, they think that's what they want, but then after 3 days they're bored and they're tired of seeing each other's faces. So you want to think about how active you want to be, how much you want to be around other people. I've been on a group trip. It was a cruise with, I think there were 8 or 10 people, and there was a honeymoon couple on that trip. Been on that actually several times. And the honeymooners chose that trip. And in the first example I'm thinking about, they went to the Galapagos. Because for them, the Galapagos was a dream trip, and that was something that they were never going to forget. They were biologists or something like that, scientists of some sort. And so they didn't really care that they were going to be sharing a boat with a bunch of other people. They did get the best cabin on the boat, but, they didn't care, and they loved sharing it with other people. So how private you want to be or not so private, how important that is to you is something else you want to think about. And again, a lot of people these days, maybe live together for a year or two or some amount of time before they get married. So privacy, having their own beach or their own pool or something like that, that may not be the highest priority. It may be. All of these decisions are going to affect the budget. And so that's something else that you really want to kind of have a handle on before you decide where you want to go on your honeymoon. Because, a honeymoon of $3,000 to $5,000, that can be wonderful, that can be great, but you're probably going to be going to somewhere, either Hawaii if you're a West Coaster or the Caribbean if you're an East Coaster, something a little bit easier, a little bit faster to get to or closer to get to. But if you're looking at more of a $6,000 to $8,000 to $10,000 honeymoon, something in that range, then you can be looking at these more exotic destination or bucket list destinations like Tahiti, Thailand, Maldives, something like that, Greece. So that the budget, how private you want to be, and when you want to go, and how long you want to spend. These are some of the things that you really want to think about when you're thinking about your honeymoon. The wedding is such a big deal for so many people that sometimes the honeymoon can get shortchanged, and you don't really want to do that. You do want to take the time to celebrate the fact that you've just decided to take this giant step with someone, and that's really exciting and should be memorized, a memorable occasion. So these are just a few of the things to think about if you know someone planning a honeymoon or you're thinking about a honeymoon soon. But again, check out my friend's book, Shannon LeBlanc, Say Yes to the Honeymoon. And that's it for this week. I'll talk to you next week.